Hey everyone, this is Alex Schraling, and this is Movies Recut, so they suck less. And the movie that we're going to be doing today is The Happening, directed by M. Night Shyamalan, who is an amazing director. And I think for this movie, all the actors go to his M. Night Shyamalan School of Acting, because all their acting was on par with his acting.
What? No.
M. Night Shyamalan is not a bad director. Every director has some great films, and then they have some flops. We all do it. I'm not sitting here as an armchair quarterback who's never directed anything. I've directed a few films, and I've made just as bad films as he has.
What? No.
You know, he's got a lot of money to make these films, enough money to maybe not do it as badly as me with a little bit of money. One of his worst films is Lady in the Water. That was just like self-flagellation right there. When we're talking about flatulation, that's kind of what the movie The Happening is about. The Happening is about trees releasing neurotoxins in the air, killing off human beings, fighting back against man and all of his transgressions. But basically, you could call the movie, I would rename the movie Tree Farts, Silent but Deadly. I mean, that's literally what the movie's about. The movie is about Mark Wahlberg and his like weird-ass psychotic wife who looks like she doesn't even know that she's in a movie. Like, she looks like she's on some heavy medications, or maybe she had a psychotic breakdown during the production of this and was on some heavy meds, and they were just filming her, and hopefully they could get a good take. And Mark Wahlberg looked like a deer in the headlights like half the time, like he didn't even know what the hell he was doing. He was supposed to be playing a science teacher, and there were just a lot of very awkward scenes in the film. And that's why I say the M. Night Shyamalan School of Acting, because if you ever watched M. Night's films, even his good films, he likes to put himself in small roles, and his acting is just atrocious. You just get by it. Usually he's only on for like a minute, you know, maybe he's got a few lines, but it's just really bad acting whenever he's in there. So I think maybe they went to the M. Night Shyamalan School of Acting, and they copied some of his bad acting habits. We're going to be recutting this film, and I almost actually debated recutting this film. I did never watch this film, but I specifically watched this film because I was looking for films that got like really a bad rap, and this film is like considered like one of the biggest stinkers of movies, like Ed Wood kind of stinker of a movie. Even the director himself, M. Night Shyamalan, after Mark Wahlberg during an interview bashed the film, and regret being in this film because it turned out so bad. In M. Night Shyamalan's response, he said, yeah, I can get his point, and everyone has their own opinions, but I think the problem with this film that most people had was that it was inconsistent, meaning the tone was inconsistent. People didn't know whether to laugh. So, you know, the reason why I debated this, because it's so bad, it's kind of good. You know, you get these really bad lines, so it's kind of good to just watch the train wreck. So by recutting it so it sucks less, we're getting a little bit less of the train wreck. Can't really change the tone, but I'm going to try to smooth out and take away some of those awkward scenes that just don't work. They just don't work. Not on a comedic level, not on a deadpan comedic level. If you're doing satire, they don't work. If you're trying to emulate bad acting, and what you need to do when you're trying to do those campy films is make it even more campier than the campy films that you're emulating, which he didn't do. It was inconsistent.
Why can't anybody give me a goddamn second?
Be scientific, douchebag.
So it just looks like really bad acting. And we're going to smooth those out. Now, the one big problem with this film, just like a lot of films, is you have sort of the existential threat, which is, you know, trees farting, and, you know, those farts make people want to kill themselves because they smell so bad. I don't know. And then you have the internal, the relational conflict within the group that's trying to survive this existential threat. And within this, they tried to set up something where there was some sort of conflict with Mark Wahlberg's character, Elliot, and his wife, that their relationship is not, they maybe either fallen out of love with each other, or maybe they're going to get a divorce. We don't know. But they set up something. The only thing that they set up about their relationship in this film is that Mark Wahlberg tells his friend that his wife's acting weird.
Is she leaving you? I didn't say that. It's just talk, okay? Just relax, please.
I saw her on your wedding day.
Again with the wedding. What?
I walked into a waiting room by mistake, and she was crying. She looked up. I saw her face. She wasn't ready to jump in, Elliot. That's not who she is. She's never gonna jump in when you need her.
But we
man.
never see that. We never see their relationship, the conflict and the tension in their relationship in this film. And also, we never get any scenes where they're sort of having this conflict within their relationship and the things that they need to work on, whether or not they love each other and they just falling out of love with each other and they need to find that love again. We never see that progression in this film. Basically, the rest of the film is them running around like idiots with like chickens with their heads cut off, you know, trying to avoid tree farts. It's basically the film with maybe some like funny moments and some bad acting. And that's not in the film. I don't know what they shot originally and what they took out, but film doesn't work because the whole climax of this film is that him and his wife are separated and they feel like their goose is cooked. They feel like the tree farts are going to reach them wherever they're at, but they're not together. And then they realize that they fell out of love with each other, but they love each other now, which we never saw that progression of them falling back into love. We never saw them actually being out of love. We never saw any type of relationship. And then they decide that they love each other so much and they don't want to be alone when they die, and they're just going to run out into the tree farts and be together if this is going to be their last moment. That's the climax of the movie, and we don't get any of that character development or that progression. So that's the major flaw. Can't fix that. But maybe I can just flesh out some of the bad acting and the bad scenes and make them flow a little bit better and take out some of the bad lines and make the movie a little less sucky. So that's what we're going to do here. So let's get started. The opening of the movie starts off in New York City Park, and the trees fart, and the neurotoxin is released in New York Park, and people get the gas. It's very suspenseful. The music is very suspenseful. We're all cued in to take this serious as a serious threat and be fearful of this. People start killing themselves. Then we cut to construction workers, and then all of a sudden the neurotoxins in their area, and the main guy who's witnessing this, construction workers are starting falling off buildings. And the last scene of the movie is you see a bunch of construction workers falling off the building as the guy's looking up, and he's like, God in heaven. And it's very dramatic, it's very suspenseful. It's a suspense film that we're watching, a horror film that we're watching. And then it cuts right to Mark Wahlberg going,
Look, I don't know if you guys have heard about this article in the New York Times about honeybees vanishing. Well, apparently, honeybees are disappearing all over the country. Tens of millions of them just disappearing. There's no bodies, no sign of them. They're just mysteriously gone. It's scary, huh? All right, let's hear some theories about why this might be happening.
hey, I don't know if you guys read that New York Times article. It just doesn't, that juxtaposition does not meld together. It just seems off. And from going something very, very suspenseful to a really cheesy, high-pitched, lighthearted line, and that's what throws the whole thing off. So I've recut that, so it just doesn't seem as jarring, and that Mark Wahlberg's character's introduction is far better. So here you go. Let me know what you think.
Help! Look out! Look out!
God in heaven. Honeybees are disappearing all over the country. Tens of millions of them just disappearing. There's no bodies, no sign of them. They're just mysteriously gone. It's scary, huh? All right, let's hear some theories about why this might be happening. Nothing? Come on, guys.
Okay, so the next section of the film I decided to tweak and cut up is the same scene inside the classroom scene. So Mark Wahlberg's character, Elliot Moore, is going around the room and asking students why the bees are disappearing, and all the students give their own theories of why the bees could be disappearing, like global warming and whatever. And he's just like, well, could be, but... And then he points to one student who's supposed to be like this good-looking kid, and he's like...
Should be more interested in science, Jake. You know why? Because your face is perfect. The problem is your face is perfect at 15. Now, if you were interested in science, you would know facts like the human nose and ears grow a fraction of an inch each year. So a perfect balance of features now might not look so perfect 5 years from now. It might look downright whack 10 years from now. Come on, buddy. Take an interest in science. What could be a reason the bees have vanished?
an act of nature and will never fully understand it.
Nice answer, Jake. He's right. I mean, science will come up with some reason to put in the books, but in the end, it'll be just a theory.
You should be more interested in science because you're too good looking. Whatever the line is. It's a really bad line. I don't know if it's supposed to be funny, but it makes him look like a douche, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work as a joke whatsoever. So I've recut that, taken the line out because we need Jake in the film anyways, because Jake says, well, sometimes we just don't understand. We'll never have an answer for phenomenon in nature. Basically, that's what he's saying, and that's sort of a foreshadowing of what this film's about, that you're not going to really get an answer of why this is happening. Again, see, there you go. Why do trees fart? But so the scene just doesn't work. The line of dialogue in the scene, that interaction of why he should be more interested in science because he's too good looking, because his facial features change and yada, 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 it just doesn't work. Pretty bad. So here I've recut the scene. You tell me what you think.
Jake, what could be a reason the bees have vanished?
An act of nature and will never fully understand it.
Nice answer, Jake. He's right. I mean, science will come up with some reason to put in the books, but in the end, it'll be just a theory. I mean, we will fail to acknowledge that there are forces at work beyond our understanding.
All right, so the next thing I decided to tweak up to make a little less suckier is the scene where we meet Elma for the first time. And I mean, that opening shot is really weird. She's staring at the TV, but she doesn't look like she's like looking at the TV. She doesn't look like she's shocked or horrified. She looks like she's like downed a couple of bottles of lithium and she's just zonked out and not even aware that she's even being filmed in a movie right now. It just does not play off that she's even in the same movie. It looks like she's having visions of something else going on. But there's nothing I can do about that because I need to have that shot in there because there's important exposition going on, and I can't really take that out or put it in somewhere else. So this scene, obviously, in this scene, this is where Elliot goes home to let his wife know that they're going to get on a train with his friend Julian, who's got tickets to head out of Dodge.
Are you packed?
Yes.
What are they saying?
They're evacuating New York City.
Well, our brains come equipped with a self-preservation mechanism to stop us from harmful actions. This is controlled by a combination of electrochemical signals in the brain. The blocking of neurotransmitters by certain toxins has been proven to cause hallucinations, asphyxiation, and paralysis. This new neurotoxin is basically flipping the preservation switch, blocking neurotransmitters in a specific order, causing specific self-damaging and catastrophic effects. Just how the toxin works and who the
It makes you kill yourself. Just when you thought there couldn't be any more evil that could be invented.
I'll be packed in 2 minutes.
It makes you kill yourself. Like, well, we just heard that from the newscast, so we don't need you to repeat it. One, that line of exposition, and two, it's like just when you thought there was evil in the world, and we don't need to hear that. And she says those lines like she's just saying lines like she's not even in the movie. So it needs to come out. It's just one of those very awkward, clunky parts. So I've recut the scene. You tell me what you think.
This new neurotoxin is basically flipping the preservation switch, blocking neurotransmitters in a specific order, causing specific self-damaging and catastrophic effects. Just how the toxin
I'll be packed in 2 minutes.
All right, so the next scene I decided to tweak up a little bit. I debated on whether or not I should do it because there was some important information that was being established, mainly a little bit of Elma's relationship with Jess. But I decided to take it out because it just holds up that scene so much and just so clunky. So this scene is where Elliot and Elma go to the train station to meet Elliot's friend Julian and his daughter, and they find out that Julian's wife is stuck in traffic and she's not coming and told him to get on the train.
Hey, Julian.
I bought him. It was like getting one of those Cabbage Patch dolls when they first came out. What a madhouse. How are you?
Good, you?
Good.
Okay, good. Why don't
I'm
we
really
go-
glad you chose to come.
Nice. Elliot, can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah.
You told him about the fight?
No.
Why did he say that?
He guessed.
I love you, Elliot, but I don't like to put my feelings out there for everyone to see. I'm not that type of person. Elliot, these are our problems. I am upset. I'm gonna sit alone and cool off. By the time we get there, I'll be fine. Is that okay?
Fine.
I'm gonna get on the train. We're not gonna get to sit together anyways.
Okay.
Hey, babe.
Hey, Delma.
How you doing?
Hanging in there.
Me too.
What's wrong with you?
What?
You're wrong about her. She just needs time to figure it out.
Come on, don't get all sensitive.
Just give her a chance.
Okay, fine. If you don't want my help...
I don't want your help.
Okay.
Duh.
I heard it.
Jess, could you ask your dad for my ticket, please? Thank you. I'll see you on the train, Jess.
Because I'm upset and I'm going to go sit on the train. She didn't even say it like that. See, I did a better job acting it than she did. She's like, Elliot, I'm upset, you know, and I like to show my emotions. And it's just really bad. It doesn't really make any sense. But then when she's done saying that, she's like, I'm going to go sit on the train alone. They come back to get her ticket, and it's a very little awkward moment. But the way she comes back and the way she says that she's not going to be joining Julian on the train, she's got like a half smile on her face. It's just the way it's performed. I mean, like I said, I don't know what happened with her, but she doesn't even look like she's in the movie. She doesn't know what she's supposed to be doing. If she was a little upset or peeved off at Julian, she would be like a little bit, like with a little spite in her voice, or just so that we could feel that. But it's just so bad. So I took that out. It's very small. It's very small, but I think it just flows a little bit better, and we don't have to suffer through any more bad acting from her.
Good.
Okay, good. Why don't
I'm
we
really
go-
glad you chose to come.
Nice. Elliot, can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah.
You told him about the fight?
No.
Why did he say that?
He guessed.
Elliot, these are our problems. I am upset. I'm gonna sit alone and cool off. By the time we get there, I'll be fine. Is that okay?
Fine.
All right, so we're on the next scene, recut, so it sucks less. So the next scene is Rittenhouse Square Park in Philadelphia has been attacked by the tree farts, and people start killing themselves in Philadelphia. Elliot, Julian, and his wife are on the train when the news comes. So the scene starts off with Elliot's wife on the train, and now she's talking to her secret boyfriend.
Hey, it's me. I'm on a train. I just want to say something, okay? You've got to stop calling me. You're acting like the fatal attraction guy here. I feel like I'm gonna take a shower and see your silhouette on the shower curtain. We ate tiramisu together. That is it. I told you that would be it. You have got to chill out.
What? When? In Philadelphia?
What's the news?
Apparently, Philadelphia was just attacked.
Oh my God, Dad.
Call mommy, call mommy.
Honey, yeah, where are you? What? What? I can't hear you. I said I can't hear you. Text me. Text me. I can't hear you.
They think it started in Rittenhouse Square Park.
Another park?
Hey, she got on a bus going to New Jersey.
I want to talk to her.
I know, baby. I know she got out. She's headed to the town of Princeton.
I want to talk to her.
All we did was have tiramisu. That was it. It's really awkward about, and then there's a pause because she finds out that he's calling her to let her know that Philadelphia was attacked, and the way she does it is really kind of bad acting in the way it's performed. But even worse is the tiramisu line. It's not. It just throws people off. I mean, is that code, or did you actually have tiramisu? And it just sounds really, really bad. If it was a comedy, if it was performed better, maybe it worked, but it just doesn't work in this movie. And it's better for us to just leave it before she says all we had was tiramisu. It works a little better. So I cut that line out, and then we go into where Elliot is and Julian in another car, and they find out that Philadelphia was attacked. And it's basically just sort of exposition scene, and Julian's like going to call his wife, and there's a whole sort of thing that just slows down the scene. The acting is not that great, and he's like, I can't hear you on here. I can't hear you. Text me, yada, yada, yada. It just slows it down. I mean, I didn't have to take it out, but I took it out. I think it just flows better. We just get straight to the point, and he texts her, and that's where we get the information that she's safe in Princeton, so on and so forth. So here's the scene recut. Let me know what you think.
Hey, it's me. I'm on a train. I just want to say something, okay? You've got to stop calling me. You're acting like the fatal attraction guy here. I feel like I'm gonna take a shower and see your silhouette on the shower curtain.
What's the news?
Apparently, Philadelphia was just attacked.
Oh my God, it's that.
Call mommy, call mommy. They think it started in Rittenhouse Square Park.
Another park?
Hey, she got on a bus going to New Jersey.
I want to talk to her.
I know, baby. I know she got out. She's headed to the town of Princeton.
I want to talk to her.
All right, so on to the next scene, recut, so it sucks a little less. The next scene is all of a sudden, train stops. They stop right at a train station, and the director cuts to a sign that says Filbert, Pennsylvania. But what happens in the next scene? You got people hanging outside the train station. There's obviously a sign on the train station that says Filbert. There's obviously people there that can tell you where you're at. But what does he do? Well, Mark Wahlberg's character goes right up to the conductors that are outside the train, and he's like,
Hey, what do you mean? Where are we?
Filbert, Pennsylvania.
Filbert? Does anybody know where that is? Why are you giving me one useless piece of information at a time? What's going on? Hey, why would you just stop? You can't just leave us here.
Sir, we lost contact.
With whom?
Everyone.
where are we? Well, you know where you are, man. The sign was right in front of you, dude. So it just makes him look really, really stupid when he says that line, like, where are we? And then he's like, well, we're in Filbert. And then he's like, well, why are you stopped? And, why are you giving me useless information? And the acting is bad, and he just looks like it just makes him look really, really stupid the way he performs it. And so I cut the scene up. I took out like, where are we? Because you should know where they are. The sign's right in front of his face when he gets off the train. And I took off, it's supposed to be a comedic line, but it's not. It doesn't play out very funny. It's just done very bad. The line where he says, why are you giving me one useless piece of information? It just slows down the movie. It just slows down the point that he needs to know that communication had stopped. So here's the scene recut, so it sucks a little less. Let me know what you think.
stop? I don't know.
Sir?
Train service has been discontinued. This will be the last stop for all passengers.
Well, hey, why would you just stop? You can't just leave us here.
Sir, we lost contact.
With whom?
Everyone.
All right, so the next scene I decided to cut so it sucks less is the diner scene, and the scene that takes place outside of the diner. So basically, Elliot, Elma, and Julian and his daughter are holed up in a diner with the rest of the people that are stranded in this small town. And then suddenly a newscast comes on saying that they don't think it's terrorist attacks, but that whatever's happening is happening in this wide area in New England, and that they're dead center in it.
Where smaller and smaller towns are being attacked.
Where are we?
The affected area now includes most of New England, from Massachusetts to Maryland. There are no
dead center.
attacks west of
Everything okay?
New York City. Smaller towns. If we stay here, we are going to die here.
Whatever this is, it looks like it's not occurring about 90 miles from here. Let's go.
Hey! Excuse me, sir. Sir, can we get a ride, please? We don't have any transportation. We're stuck here. Sir, did you hear what I said? We don't have any transportation. We have a little girl with us, please. Sir, you're not just gonna...
Can you believe how crappy people are? There's a car.
Hi. I run a plant nursery up the street. We're picking up a few things from home, then heading wherever this isn't happening. We have room.
We have two others.
That's okay.
Julian!
Is Julian okay?
We got a ride. He can fit all of us.
Elliot, I can't get a vet on the phone or email or nothing.
How long?
It's been about 2 hours. She was on that bus headed to Princeton. There's a car over there headed to pick up friends and family, and they said they could squeeze one more.
Look, think real carefully about this.
She was looking for a birthday present for Jess, some kind of dollhouse. That's why she wasn't with us. Look, I'm just gonna go get her, and I'm gonna bring her back, and I'm gonna find you guys. I need you to take Jess, okay? She's gonna be a lot safer with you. Don't do this to me. I'm doing my best here not to fall down.
I'm sure the probability of Princeton not being hit is good.
Yeah. Yeah, you want me to throw some figures and percentages at you so we both feel better?
Please.
All right. 62% chance. 62% chance he hasn't even been hit.
Oh, you go get her, Jules, okay?
Of course, man, of course. Come on, this is all some weird event. That's all. We're all gonna be fine. I'm gonna find you guys real soon. I have to go.
I got her, Julian.
Don't take my daughter's hand unless you mean it. I wanna go get Mommy. Hold our picture.
All right, so as you can see with the scene, there's so many problems with this scene. First of all, the main point of the scene is basically, the attacks are spreading in a wide area. It may not be terrorists, and that they need to get out. They need to get out of this town. And then also the scene between Julian, Elliot, and Alma. I mean, Julian's not getting any word from his wife in Princeton, and he decides to hitch another ride with folks that are going to Princeton. And it's sort of a moment where Julian knows that he's possibly going on a suicide mission, and he asks Elliot and Alma to take care of his daughter, Jess. So, some of the biggest problems in this scene is there's a lot of sort of just clunky and stupid exposition that just slows down the scene. First of all, the first line is when the power goes out, as you can see, and people are like, they don't know what to do. One guy, the line I left in there because it wasn't that bad, is like, well, if we stay here, we're going to die here. I think that's a better line. And then the next line is, whatever's happening 90 miles from here is not happening, which the line is really stupid. It's like exposition that we already know, and it doesn't need to be repeated. And the way it's performed, this is why I think the tone, like M. Night doesn't really understand comedy, because the way maybe he was trying to be funny, but it just comes off really bad. Like the line itself is said like what you would see on a Saturday Night Live skit, or that common comedic trope where like somebody's like, nothing to see here, and then there's stuff going on behind them. Or, hey, I'm not going to steal candy from you, and then he's stealing candy. It's that juxtaposition between what they're saying and it's that comedic trope where somebody is saying something different than what they're doing. I'm not taking anything from you as he's taking something from you. I'm not, that's the way it's performed. But there's no juxtaposition, in between what's being said and what's taking place. So it's not funny. It's just clunky in its exposition. So that line is gone. So it's far better where the guy says, well, if we stay here, we're going to die here, and everyone just runs after the power goes out, rather than having this clunky, weird, awkward line. And the next thing that slows down the scene and just really stupid is Elliot's running around, asking for rides, and people are not going to help him, and people are just taking off. And she's like, can you believe people? We don't need that set. We already see it through the actions that people are just out for themselves. And she doesn't need to, it just feels like clunky. And the way she performs it is bad. It just feels like clunky exposition. Then the next clunky exposition is the nursery guy pulls up in his car, and just as he's pulling up, she's like, "Oh, there's a car." Wow, I don't think it just slows it down. That's another just clunky exposition. And yeah, we see it. There is a car. It's right in frame. We don't need a character to say that. So that line's out. And those are just small lines to sort of take out this clunky exposition, crappy dialogue, and just sort of, keep the intensity of the scene that's going on. And so then the next thing, which I think is important, is, Julian is out, talking to the people in the red Jeep to get hitch a ride to Princeton. We don't know that yet. We know that his wife has not responded, and Alma's like, "Is Julian okay?" Which is really, it's just a stupid line. It's more exposition. What makes it even stupider is, no, he's not okay. He doesn't know where his wife is. And you shouldn't be okay either. Nobody is okay. Something's happening where people are committing suicide. Nobody knows what's going on. It's a pretty stressful, fearful moment. Nobody is okay, So I don't even know why he would say, no, Julian's just fine. He should be fine. Everyone should be fine. What a stupid line. Is Julian okay? Yeah, no, he's not okay. Nobody's okay. They're all running for their lives, in the scene. So that line is taken out. It just really kind of these stupid lines that just don't make any sense whatsoever. So then Julian says he's going to go to Princeton, and he wants them to take care of Alma. And one of the scene is pretty poignant. The acting is pretty good both on Liquizano's side and on Wahlberg's side. There's some weird cutaway shots where Wahlberg it just looks weird. So I tried to take a little bit of those out, but and then there's also these weird shots of Alma where she's smiling or has a smirk on her face. I mean, it's just weird. I don't think I took all of those out, but the biggest clunker in this scene is Wahlberg's character is like, what do you think the probability is? The probability's pretty high. I forget the line, but I think the way it's performed, if we just leave it on that, they continue on with like, well, give me some stats, give me some figures, and he's like, oh no, it's pretty good, and it's done pretty lighthearted, like it's supposed to be. No, it's a dramatic moment. So I took that out. So it's better just to say, what do you think the probability is? And Wahlberg's like, well, I think it's pretty good. Your probability is pretty good with the way they look, knowing for a fact that it's probably not that good. That is a suicide mission. So I think that plays a lot better than that clunky part in the middle where it sort of changes a little lighthearted. And I know I can understand the intent of like trying to boost themselves up, but it just doesn't play off well. It's not done well. So that's gone. So here's the scene recut. So it sucks a little less. Tell me what you think.
If we stay here, we are going to die here.
Hey!
Excuse me, sir. Sir, can we get a ride, please? We don't have any transportation. We're stuck here. Sir, did you hear what I said? We don't have any transportation. We have a little girl with us, please. Sir, you're not just gonna...
Hi. I run a plant nursery up the street. We're picking up a few things from home, then heading wherever this isn't happening. We have room.
We have 2 others.
That's okay.
Julianne! We got a ride. He can fit all of us.
Elliot, I can't get a vet on the phone or email or nothing.
How long?
It's been about 2 hours. She was on that bus headed to Princeton. There's a car over there headed to pick up friends and family. They said they could squeeze one more.
Look, think real carefully about this.
She was looking for a birthday present for Jess. Some kind of dollhouse. That's why she wasn't with us. Look, I'm just gonna go get her, and I'm gonna bring her back, and I'm gonna find you guys. I need you to take Jess, okay? She's gonna be a lot safer with you. Don't do this to me. I'm doing my best here not to fall down.
I'm sure the probability of Princeton not being hit is good.
Yeah.
I got her, Julian.
Don't take my daughter's hand unless you mean it. I want to go get Mommy. Hold our picture.
All right, so the next scene I decided to recut so it sucks less is the nurseryman's house scene, the famous hot dog line. So I'm going to show you the scene, and I'm going to tell you what I cut out and why. So here we go.
Hey, take a look around. We'll be ready in a jiffy.
We're packing hot dogs for the road. You know, hot dogs get a bad rap. They got a cool shape, they got protein. You like hot dogs, right? By the way, I think I know what's causing this.
You do?
It's the plants. They can release chemicals. You like hot dogs, don't you? Okay, babies. We are gonna be going, but we will be back soon, okay? Oh, plants react to human stimulus. They proved it in tests. Get the mustard?
Really? I mean, this scene, holy moly, it's so bad. It's so bad. Now, the first thing I have, which I really couldn't cut out, is they're trying to get out of Dodge, as quickly as possible. So they pull into the nurseryman's house. The nurseryman's like, hey, we're just going to get some stuff real quick. Take a look around. Why the hell would you want them to take a look around? Your main goal is just to get the hell out of town. It just doesn't make any sense. The only reason why that line is there, so that you can get the characters out of the car and stroll into the nursery, so that he can tell them that he thinks that he has the answer to why this is happening, that it's the plants. That's the only reason. I couldn't take out the line because it's a long take, and I would have had to. I could have taken it out. I would have done a lot of work, but not enough, it's not really that worth it. So, but the main thing is this whole hot dog guy comes in. He's like, hey, hot dog. I got hot dogs, and then he's like, hot dogs get a bad rap. And so this is what I mean about the comedy. Like, M. Night Shyamalan doesn't know how to write comedy. I mean, comedy's a tough thing to write. I mean, it's hard to get right. But he's never been known as sort of a comedy writer. And it's like, okay, but what doesn't make the jerk? What doesn't make this joke work is that hot dogs get a bad rap. I mean, there has to be some essence of truth to your joke. It's not a joke at all. It's like, well, do hot dogs get a bad rap? I've never noticed anyone that doesn't like hot dogs. Most kids prefer hot dogs over anything else. Like, what bad rap do they get? I mean, in terms of their nutritional value, I mean, yeah, we know it's junk food. It's just like pizza. We know that's not good to eat, but it's not like, someone goes up, pizza gets a bad rap. It's not like tofu. It's not like, tofu gets a bad rap. Yeah, because most people don't like tofu. They don't like the texture and the taste. And then he's like, it's got a cool shape and protein. Okay. And then the next thing I took out is he turns to Elma and he has this really weird, like, fake acting face. He's like, you like hot dogs too. And then she responds with like this weird sort of like smile on her face. I mean, it just doesn't play well. That's what I mean by there's no jokes, there's no comedy in there. Yes, if you're going for the weird, fine, but that tone needs to be throughout the entire movie. This is the problem, where it's the inconsistency of the tone. You have sort of serious scenes, and you have scenes that are just sort of normal scenes, and then you have these weird scenes. If you wanted to sort of have this weird movie, then everything should be weird. Everything should be amped up. The campiness from everyone in all their performances should be amped up. The bad acting, if you wanted to play homage to bad acting, there should be bad acting with every performance, and amp it up big time. Just so people can get the point that, yeah, this is what we're doing. So these would play off a little bit more, but it's just so inconsistent with the way the scenes are. So I took out those lines and recut it so that it sucks a little less. So here's the scene recut. You tell me what you think.
Hey, take a look around. We'll be ready in a jiffy. We're packing hot dogs for the road. By the way, I think I know what's causing this.
You do?
It's the plants. They can release chemicals. Okay, babies, we are gonna be going, but we will be back soon, okay? Oh, plants react to human stimulus. They proved it in tests. Get the mustard?
All right, so the next scene that I'm gonna recut up so it flows a little bit better is Julian in Princeton in the red Jeep scene. I'm gonna show you the scene, and then I'm gonna tell you the subtle changes I made to make the scene just a little bit better. So here you go.
Don't look outside. Stop it. Stop it. Just look at me. Just keep looking at me. Close the vents. I'm gonna give you a math riddle, okay? And you're gonna tell me the answer. How much would you have if I said I would pay you a penny on the first day, and then 2 pennies on the second, and then 4 pennies on the third day, and I just kept doubling it? I did this for a month. How much money would you have at the end of the month?
$10.
Oh, hi. Just keep looking at me. Just keep looking at me.
$20.
No, keep going. Keep going.
It's $30. It's $30.
I'm gonna tell you the answer. It's over $10 million. You'd have over $10 million at the end of the month. You wanna hear another one?
Okay, so the scene is actually, it's not that bad. It's pretty decent. And the pacing and the flow is pretty good throughout the scene. There's not really too much wrong with it, but there is something wrong that just throws you off. And for me, it was really Julian's initial reaction to the woman screaming. It's just sort of paced out wrong. In terms of the intensity to get to the moment where he's trying to calm her down with the math problem. It was like, okay, yes, they come upon a horrific scene. She's screaming. That's natural. And he's immediately like, stop it, calm down. And then he's like, oh, let's close the vents. And then he's like, all right, calm down. Here, let me give you a math riddle. It just seemed off. It doesn't flow very well. So I changed it up, the order. I mean, this took a lot of work, but there are a lot of subtle changes that I made that I feel like it flows a lot better. So I'm going to show you that, and you tell me what you think.
Close the vents. Don't look outside. Stop it. Stop it. Just look at me. Just keep looking at me. I'm gonna give you a math riddle, okay? And you're gonna tell me the answer. How much would you have if I said I would pay you a penny on the first day, and then 2 pennies on the second, and then 4 pennies on the third day, and I just kept doubling it? I did this for a month. How much money would you have at the end of the month?
$10.
Oh, hi. Just keep looking at me. Just keep looking at me.
$20.
No, keep going. Keep going.
All right, the next moment I decided to recut is when they're driving. The nurseryman, Elliot, and Alma are driving on the road, and they notice something in the off in the distance. So here's the scene, and then I'm going to tell you what I cut out.
Water contamination has surfaced as one of the many theories being taken seriously as to the cause of the events in the Northeast.
We have to go through this little community of homes, a small town called Holcomb. Then we hit the highway from there. We're 30 miles from the state line.
Are those dead animals up ahead?
Stop the car.
You don't think it's...
I don't know.
You got binoculars in the back from when you were spying on our neighbors.
Can I have the map?
So it's just a minor thing. See, these are sort of these subtle things that throughout the film that I took out that just slow down the film, and it's just not needed. And it's just sort of like, why is he screaming, stop the car? He's not even, I mean, it's not like he came to some major realization and he's saving these people's lives because he knows what's going on. It's like obvious, just stop the car. We don't need it. And it just looks bad. The performance looks bad. So I took it out. I mean, I could have left it in, but I just took it out. I think it flows better. So here you go.
Water contamination has surfaced as one of the many theories being taken seriously as to the cause of the events in the Northeast.
We have to go through this little community of homes, a small town called Holcomb. Then we hit the highway from there. We're 30 miles from the state line.
Are those dead animals up ahead? You don't think it's...
I don't know.
You got binoculars in the back from when you were spying on our neighbors.
All right, so the next part we're on to that I decided to take out one line. I'm going to show you the scene. It's the scene where everyone's stranded in the middle of nowhere and trying to figure out what to do.
It's okay. Honey, it's okay. She's so scared. You just stay in that room. You don't open the door for nothing. Just keep watching out the window with the tree, baby. Someone will come and get you soon.
Tell her not to go near the window with the tree. Just tell her.
Baby, don't go near the window with the tree.
Ask her if Princeton's been affected.
Honey, someone wants to know if Princeton's had any problems. She says everyone's dead outside. You just stay in your room. Honey? Honey, you're talking funny. What's wrong with you?
What do you mean? Everyone's dead?
What? Stacy, you're scaring me. I don't understand what you're saying. What, baby? She's just not making any sense.
Calculus. I see in calculus. Calculus.
Stacy!
Calculus.
Stacy! Stacy!
It went from outside.
Oh, no. Stacy! Oh, no.
All right, so what I took out is Wahlberg's character ask the woman, ask your daughter how everyone is in Princeton, and the woman's listening on the phone, and she's like, she says everyone's dead. All right, and this is kind of a lot of the problems with the film is that the way it's written, and the director seems to feel like he has to repeat, information that's already given, and that characters have to like say what they're feeling. I mean, he's like, what do you mean everyone's dead? And the way it's performed, it's so bad. It just makes his character look so stupid. I mean, yes, I know maybe in real life people repeat themselves, or like, they're not necessarily listening when they're in shock. I mean, yeah, that does happen. I know I've done it before, but it just makes, I mean, movies aren't real life, and it just makes them look stupid. I mean, so I took the line out. If what would be better in that scene is she's like, says everyone's dead, and all he would have to do is maybe focus on Wahlberg's character, and we just see it on his face that he's like, what do you mean everyone? Oh my God, everyone's dead. He doesn't need to say anything. So here's the scene with the line out. Tell me what you think.
Just tell her.
Baby, don't go near the window with the tree.
Ask her if Princeton's been affected.
Honey, someone wants to know if Princeton's had any problems. She says everyone's dead outside. You just stay in your room. Honey? Honey, you're talking funny. What's wrong with you? I don't understand what you're saying. What, baby? She's just not making any sense.
Calculus. I see in calculus.
All right, so the next moment I decided to trim is the moment where, after that phone call, that he listens in and realizes that his friend Julian is dead. He goes off to cry, and then Julian's daughter comes up to Elliot, and they both comfort each other, and Alma's looking on. So here's the scene, and I'll tell you what I did.
We're gonna go back to the car, okay, Jess?
We went down that road. What would that take us?
All right, so the only thing that I did with the scene is such a minor cut, but as you can see, the scene starts off with it ends with Elliot grabbing Julian's daughter, and they cry together, and then it cuts to a close-up of Elma, and she's feeling the pain and sadness, and this performance is good right here. It's a good performance, and then it cuts back to Elliot, and they're still crying more, and the music's rising up, and then it cuts back to Elma, and she's like still in that moment, and then something weird happens with her face where she's trying to be strong, but it just doesn't look like that. It just doesn't feel right. It's just off. So and it breaks the emotional moment that's happening. I just don't. This is what I mean with you by just taking out subtle things. Just taking out a few frames or one shot in a scene can totally change the intention of the scene. That's the power of editing. That's why that's why where you cut that video on a very specific frame. It's how you craft performances. and her performances are so uneven and awkward throughout this film. And it's weird. It's weird, but I can't change all of these flaws. But it just seemed off the way it originally is. So here it is, recut with just one shot, a few frames, 2 shots taken out of the scene, and tell me what you think. If you think it plays better, here you go.
We're gonna go back to the car, okay, Jess?
We went down that road. What would that take us?
All right, so the next scene is the that we have is the infamous "be scientific douchebag," where Elliot finally realizes what's causing people to kill themselves, and it's the plants. They're farting, and their farts are triggered by how many people are grouped close together. So the more people you have, the more at risk you're at getting, killed by a tree fart. So, and then decides to do it. So I'm going to show you the scene, then I'm going to tell you what I took out.
Jesus.
Oh
no.
I don't know.
The toxin? The toxin is affecting them?
Are those people killing themselves?
You were with a private. What do we do?
We need to do something.
Just let me think.
They're dying.
I need a second. They released it? We're not near the roads.
We can't just stand here as uninvolved observers.
I need a second, okay? Just give me a second.
We're not gonna be one of those assholes on the news who watches a crime happen and not do something. We're not assholes.
Just a second.
There were children in that room. Elliot, please tell us what to do.
I need a second, okay? Why can't anybody give me a goddamn second? I'd be scientific, douchebag. Identify the variables. That's the 2 groups. Design an experiment. That's what we're freaking in. Careful observation measurement. That's what I'm trying to do. Interpret the experimental data. Interpret. What if it is the plants? Their group was larger than ours. This thing has been escalating all day. Smaller and smaller populations have been setting this off. They react to human stimulus. Maybe people are setting off the plants?
What are you saying? That guy was crazy. We have to save them.
They're already dead. What if they're targeting us as threats? I mean, this part of the field may not have been set off. Something in this field could be releasing the chemical into the air when there's too many of us together. Let's just stay ahead of the wind. Let's just break up into groups.
All right, so there's so many problems with this scene, and this is what I mean with the inconsistent tone. Like within the same scene, it's like this is supposed to be an intense moment where the other group are killing themselves. They've inhaled the tree farts, and now they're killing themselves. And the scene starts off intense, like trying to figure out what to do to save these people's lives, and everyone's depending on Elliot, who hasn't really done anything to show that he is more knowledgeable or an expert, or that he's like MacGyver-esque with figuring out and solving problems. But somehow he's the go-to guy, right? You know what I mean? He hasn't showed any leadership qualities or skills, and that's partly wrong with this film, is that our main character has no skill sets whatsoever. None of them have any skill sets that you would be like, I believe that they can get out of this situation. It'd be one thing if Elliot was like this science teacher who had these MacGyver-esque qualities and could figure out how to build gas masks and to filtrate through the gas, or always had some sort of ingenious solution to be able to get out of this situation. But basically him and the rest of the characters just run around like chickens with their heads cut off, basically trying to avoid tree farts. And I'm going to spend a little longer on the scene, and that's the problem. Like, here's his moment. This is his hero moment, right? But he doesn't save anyone. All he does is figure out that tree farts are triggered by groups of people. And then the way the scene, they have these weird ass lines like, "We are not going to be uninvolved observers." Is this supposed to be funny? Is this supposed to be like sort of an absurdist take, satire on these types of films, or what he's talking about? Because if it is, again, this is where he falls into the tonal problem. You got to amp it up. You got to camp it out, for people to sort of get it, But so what I did with the scene is I basically maintained sort of the suspense intensity, took out some of the stupid lines that diminish our characters, like when Wahlberg's like, "What's going on?" or "It's the toxin." Those lines where, we could probably see it in the actor's face, what's going on, what they're thinking. We don't need to hear it come out of their lips because we're probably thinking the same thing. It's like the character saying what the audience is thinking. So, and then unevolved observers, the way she says the line is just really bad, and it just slows down the pacing, and it's weird. And then be scientific douchebag, which is, I guess, supposed to be funny, but it's not that funny. I mean, it's just really, really bad. And then he finally gets it. He's trying to think here, and then they cut to a shot of Alma turning around, and she just looks like, no big deal. We're just gonna walk over there. I'm not scared. I don't get it. There's a lot of those shots in there. It's like, does she even know what movie she's in? I mean, people are killing themselves. They've inhaled the tree farts. It's a dangerous situation. And yes, you're going to be brave and you're going to go there and try to save people. But you look like you took, a couple bottles of Xanax and you're just totally out of it. So I got to show you. It's weird. So anyways, I cut that out. So here's the scene recut. So it sucks a little less.
Jesus.
Are those people killing themselves?
You were with it, Private. What do we do?
We need to do something!
Just let me think.
They're dying!
I need a second. They released it? We're not near the road. I need a second, okay? Just give me a second.
We're not gonna be one of those assholes on the news who watches a crime happen and not do something. We're not assholes. We're children in that.
I need a second, okay? Why can't anybody give me a goddamn second? Identify the variables. That's the two groups. Design an experiment. That's what we're freaking in. Careful observation measurements. That's what I'm trying to do. Interpret the experimental data. Interpret. What if it is the plants? Their group was larger than ours. This thing has been escalating all day. Smaller and smaller populations have been setting this off. They react to human stimulus. Maybe people are setting off the plants?
What are you saying? That guy was crazy. We have to save them.
They're already dead. What if they're targeting us as threats? I mean, this part of the field may not have been set off. Something in this field could be releasing the chemical into the air when there's too many of us together. Let's just stay ahead of the wind.
All right, so now we're on to the next amazing scene. Elliot figured out that the tree farts were triggered by large groups of folks, so they all split up in groups and they start running away from the windy tree farts that are going to kill them. And then running, and so I'm going to show you the scene, and then I'll let you know what I cut out.
Nothing happened. It was the size of the groups. Could this really be happening?
All right, so you got to see that amazing piece of filmmaking right there. I mean, it's just amazing. So, all right, so as you know, the tree farts come, the wind blows, and both Elma and Elliot look at each other, and they give a look like nothing happened. We don't, they actually did their job on that performance, and they look at each other like, whoa, why aren't we dead yet? But no, again, just like this film has to do all the time, he has to over-explain and have one of the characters tell us what the internal thoughts of the character are thinking. So, like, Mark Wahlberg looks up, nothing happened, whoa, and it just makes him look stupid. So, I've recut the scene, I've taken out some of those stupid lines, and you let me know if you think it flows better. All right, so now we're on to the next scene. So after Elliot and Elma and Jess and the two young teenagers that split off with the rest of the group and ran away from the tree farts, they go on their journey to go find this nondescript place that's not on a map, and they basically end up at a model home and, look for a map in that model home. It's some sort of model home for a development that's going on, and everything's fake, and it's a pretty weird scene. The only thing I did with that was, when Elliot Moore, Mark Wahlberg's character, is talking to the plastic plant, I took out the last line, "I'm still talking to the plant." I think that made the joke a little bit better. It was probably one of the only jokes in the film, but it was still, just makes Elliot look like a complete buffoon. But maybe that's what the filmmaker wanted. But anyway, so they escape from the house because more people are coming towards that house, so they're fearful of more people, so they run away. And yes, that group got larger, and then suddenly they get hit with a tree fart, and a group of people, one of the guys gets run over by a lawnmower as Elliot, Elma, and the two teenage boys and Julian's daughter go run off. And so then they run off, they have a little convo, and then they come up to what looks like an abandoned house. And this is the scene that I cut up a crap ton out of, because this scene is really, it just does not make a lot of sense. So now they're coming up to the abandoned house. I'm going to show you the scene. They're looking for food because Julian's daughter, Jess, is hungry. So they're going to knock on this abandoned house and see if they can get some food. So here's the scene, and then I'll tell you what I recut so it sucks a little less.
Maybe that's not a good idea?
I told her just for a minute.
Mr. Moore, I think I can open this door.
Wait, we're a gang now? We're gonna take whatever we want? Come on, guys.
So nobody's home. We're just gonna get some food for Jess.
Well, yeah, and it looks like nobody's lived here for a long time anyway. I mean, it's all boarded up.
Maybe we could leave some money.
What kind of tree is this?
I think it's a maple.
Not so high.
Okay, Josh. Open the door.
Wait. I see something. There's somebody in there.
You sure?
Yeah, I saw him move.
I see him.
Let's stop.
Is there any way we could get some food? We have a little girl. We just want to get her some food.
You best leave now. You ain't gonna bring that poison gas in here with you.
Sir, it's not poison gas. There's none out here.
They said to stay inside.
We're fine right now. Nothing's happened out here yet. I mean, you can see that. Just listen to our voices. We're perfectly normal. On Blackwater, keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on me? See? We're normal.
You ain't from around here. You best leave now.
Okay, it's not worth it.
Open the door, bitch!
Hey, Josh, don't do that. He didn't mean that.
There's more than one in there.
Jess! Jess, come here.
Stop it, Jess. Listen, we just want some food for a little girl, you pussies!
Jess, come here.
Josh, stop it.
Let's not let that gas in here.
Sir, the air is fine out here right now. You don't need to worry.
Might be with the terrorists.
I don't think it's terrorists, sir. Josh, stop it!
You're being crazy, Mr. Moore.
Show your faces!
Let the gas in.
No! We're gonna get out of this nightmare.
Elliot! We have to go. We have to protect Jess.
You got the three to get off our porch.
All right, there's so many problems with this scene. I just don't know where to begin. First of all, they go up to the house, and they think it's deserted, so they're going to bust down the door. And then suddenly, they see someone, and this guy is some royal hick guy who thinks that it's all terrorists, and he doesn't want the gas in there, which to me doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, you know, the logic in this film is just atrocious. I mean, this guy's houses, they're old houses, they're drafty as hell. And if people think it's a neurotoxin gas from terrorists, I mean, you'd think they would put up plastic on their windows or do something a little bit more effective than just boarding up their windows and doors. And because we all live in drafty houses. In old, New England, the houses are drafty. Air flows through them. So I don't think just shutting your doors and boarding up windows are going to protect you from letting gas in. So that's just kind of the stupidity of the whole logic of the folks in this film. And so Elliot's at the door. They see someone, and he's like, "Get off my property," as you can see. But you know what? The thing that doesn't make any sense to me is somebody's in there, tells them to get off their property, and then the two teenage boys thinks it's okay to start kicking down the door and amp up the situation. It doesn't make any sense. What, are they going to beat up this guy? So they just put themselves in danger even more, which I just don't get. So obviously the guy shoots one of the kids, and then shoots the other kids. And yes, this is a terrifying, shocking moment, okay? And then after that, Mark Wahlberg gets down on the ground to see if the kid's all right. I get that, and so does Elma, to see if the other kid's all right. But then he says, he waits, he takes his sweet ass time. The kid got shot in the head. The kid got shot in the head, and he's like, I'm gonna get out of this mess. Not like, hey, are you all right? Can I save your ass? No, I'm gonna get out of this mess. And then just sits there, and then Elma comes up and goes, we gotta go. I mean, it's just so clunky and bad. Of course you gotta go. Guy's shooting bullets at you. He probably would have been still shooting bullets at you when you took the time to check on the kids. So the scene is just horribly executed. I mean, it just makes no sense. So I've recut the scene. I've taken out, he doesn't stop for the kids because technically, the guy would probably still be shooting at him. I mean, if they directed the scene properly, they would have had Mark Wahlberg and Elma try to drag those kids away from the house. But they didn't have that. They had to have a little moment there, which doesn't make any sense. So I've recut the scene, and you let me know what you think.
Mr. Moore, I think I can open this door.
Wait, we're a gang now? We're gonna take whatever we want? Come on, guys.
What kind of tree is this?
I think it's a maple.
Not so high.
Okay, Josh. Open the door.
Wait. I see something. There's somebody in there.
You sure?
Yeah, I saw him move.
I see him.
Let's stop.
Is there any way we could get some food? We have a little girl. We just want to get her some food. No!
All right, as you can see, from that last scene, I recut it so I think it makes the characters are not as let's say stupid, but hopefully it flows better, and you'll let me know what you think. Now, moving on, making corrections to this crappy film. All right, so the next scene that I recut and smoothed out a little bit better is the crazy old lady's house. So after they get shot up at another house that they tried to enter or to get help from, they run, and then they come upon another spooky looking house, and Mark Wahlberg Elliot Morris goes up there, and there's an old woman there, and she's talking real strange and real weird, and there's bad vibes, but yet he still thinks it's a good idea to go stay with her at the night. I don't know if he had any other options, but I'm sure there were other options out there, but it doesn't really just shows the intelligence of these characters that have been written for us. They're brilliant. They have the IQ of a 4-year-old, I guess. I don't know. So, anyways, so they're eating dinner there, and this scene, I mean, I can't really. There's a couple it's just kind of an awkward scene with the way it was cut up, with the way of this sort of the reaction shots that were chosen to use. I've kept most of the dialogue in there during the dinner scene with the old woman, but I rearranged it, some of the reaction shots and the way it's cut and pasted out, so it doesn't seem as sort of awkward and clunky. Can't really pinpoint it, but I'm going to show you. Here's the original scene.
I hope the meal was sufficient. I wasn't expecting guests.
This is a beautiful place.
There's a spring house in the back. They used to hide people from slave chasers back there. It has a speaking tube running under the ground to the main house. You can hear each other like you were in the same room. So, what's with you two? Who's chasing who?
I'm sorry?
Ain't no time. Two people staring at each other, standing still, loving both their eyes at the same time, equal. Truth is, someone is chasing someone. That's the way we's built. So, who's chasing? I knew that. I knew that.
All right, so there you go. Feels a little clunky, feels a little off. Some of the reactions feel a little off, and so here's how I recut the scene to smooth that out.
I hope the meal was sufficient. I wasn't expecting guests.
This is a beautiful place.
There's a spring house in the back. They used to hide people from slave chasers back there. It has a speaking tube running under the ground to the main house. You can hear each other like you were in the same room. So, what's with you two?
I'm sorry?
Who's chasing who? Truth is, someone is chasing someone. That's the way we's built. Ain't no time. Two people staring at each other, standing still, loving both their eyes, equal. So, who's chasing? I knew that. I knew that. Don't touch things that aren't yours.
All right, we're on to the next scene. Yeah, and this is the infamous scene, the one that is used as a meme. It's when they're in the old lady's house, they're staying overnight, and Elliot and Elma are talking about how crazy the woman is, and then suddenly she just, they hear her down the stairs. Mark Wahlberg goes down, and I'm going to show you the scene if you haven't seen it, but I think most of you have. And here you go, and then I'll show you what I did.
I don't like this woman. There's something exorcisty about her. How could she hit Jess like that?
We need to stay in this house. You want me to protect you. This is how we have to do it. Let's just deal with her.
I hear you whispering. Planning on stealing something?
No, ma'am, we're not.
Plan on murdering me in my sleep?
What? No.
So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy. I mean, I don't know if I could blame Mark Wahlberg for that performance. I mean, you know, he could have done it a different way, but, you know, the writing is just so bad. She just walks into the room, and I don't know how you respond to that. Plan on murdering me in my sleep? It's like she's reading a cue card or something like that. Plan on doing this? And then he's got to respond to that. But he responds like he's some little school kid who took a cookie out of a cookie jar, and the teacher's like, "Did you steal the cookie?" He's like, "No, I did not." Just, I mean, the way this character is played, I mean, that he's just totally inept character. I mean, so, hey, what did I do? What do you think I did? I just cut that part out. Got the best part of the movie out, I'm sorry. This is why I was a little hesitant about recutting The Happening, or I would call it The Flatulence. I mean, that's a better title for it. That's why I was hesitant, because there's so many bad, awkward moments, genuinely bad, awkward moments, that it's so bad, it's good. So by me cutting out all the bad parts, I probably made the movie worse, because now we can enjoy this amazing writing, these amazing performances, the amazing, character development, with all its glory. Just how bad the train wreck that we're watching unfold in front of us. So I'm probably making the movie worse. It's one of those cases where I'm making the movie worse by taking out some of the best bad moments that are in the film. So, but here you go. Here's the scene without it, and let me know what you think.
I don't like this woman. There's something exorcisty about her. How could she hit Jess like that?
We need to stay in this house. You want me to protect you. This is how we have to do it. Let's just deal with her.
Okay, so now we're on to the next infamous scene. Okay, so after their B&B stay at Crazy Lady's house, Elliot wakes up and finds Alma and Jess are not there, so he strolls down the stairs and goes into Crazy Lady's room, and then she surprises him, and she's like, "You are stealing my things. You need to leave right now," and then does some weird handshake thing, and Wahlberg is like, "Oh, no. Let's hear me out, And she's like, "Leave again." It just seems very, very awkward and off. So here's the scene as is, and then I'll show you how I recut it so it seems less awkward and making her acting just slightly a little bit better.
Mrs. Jones? Crazy lady.
You trying to steal my things?
No, Mrs. Jones, I actually wanted to talk with you.
You all are gonna leave right now!
Ma'am, you don't understand. There's something happening in a few states. In this region, it's not safe.
Leave now!
All right, so there you go. You can see the amazing performance and cutting that's been done there. So here's how I cut it up. So it's a little softer. It doesn't, it still have the same intensity, but we don't get the sense that I feel like that the acting is really horrible. Maybe it's just slightly bad with my version. Okay, so here you go. Let me know what you think.
Crazy lady.
You trying to steal my things?
No, Mrs. Jones, I actually wanted to talk with you.
You all are gonna leave right now!
Ma'am, there's something happening in a few states. In this region.
Okay, so now we're on the next little part. It's a small little change. I don't know. I was debating on whether or not to cut it out, but so Wahlberg goes outside and he's like, "I'm gonna just show you the section, and then I'll tell you why I cut this line out." All right, so here you go.
The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd.
Mrs. Jones, could we talk calmly for a second? Just hear me out. See, I'm a teacher. Mrs. Jones? Oh my God.
All right, so what seems a little weird about that? For me, what seems weird, he runs outside to convince Mrs. Jones, and obviously she sniffed a tree fart, so now she's done for. Even though she was crazy before, now she's even more crazy. He's like, "Look, Mrs. Jones, I'm a teacher." Okay. what does that mean? That you're trustworthy? Or how is that going to convince her of anything if she's already crazy and you already think she's crazy? What does a teacher have to, what does that mean with anything? When you just want to try to convince her? I mean, it's just, I don't know. I debated taking it out. It just seemed a little clunky, so I took it out. So here you go. Let me know if you think it feels a little less clunky without that line.
The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd.
Mrs. Jones, could we talk calmly for a second? Just hear me out. Mrs. Jones? Oh my God.
All right, so now we're on to, I think, the last scene that I cut one line out to make sure, so it seemed a little less clunky. So Elliot, crazy woman, now has sniffed a tree fart, and now she's going to try to kill herself by banging her head through the window, which she does, and wind with mixed with tree farts blows in, and Elliot's scared, and he runs into another room and locks himself in. Again, the logic in this film, I think, this is just, it's so bad. I mean, I don't know why, you know, it would have made sense if Elliot was like, you know, I mean, that's one of the problems, the character development in this film. I mean, Elliot is just so incompetent. I mean, every single one is so, it's not like he's, like I said, MacGyver-esque, and he comes up with unique solutions to block himself from sniffing tree farts, you know, some filtration system like a gas mask. You'd think these folks would, like, you know, ding, 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 maybe we should try to check out a supply store or do something to filter the neurotoxin out, either a gas mask or whatever. I mean, obviously there may not be the resources there, but an old house that's drafty as hell is not going to keep the gas out. So just, I mean, so anyways, he locks himself up into a room. Obviously, it's going to protect him from the tree farts, and he hears voices of Elma and Jess, and he realizes, oh, he's in the room where the pipe is, where the slaves who stayed in the barn next to the house could communicate with the landowner. So he tells them to lock their doors. So they lock their doors in the drafty barn, like that's going to protect them, and to stay safe from the tree farts. And that's what they do. And then, so the next scene comes in, and it's the climax of the scene. It's where Elliot and Alma are going to come to a resolution with their frayed marriage, which is another huge problem in this film. Supposedly their marriage is frayed. They fell out of love, but we don't really get much of that. We get a bunch of confusion, like she went out to have tiramisu with some lady, and he bought cough syrup, which she was probably joking to make her feel better. But their relationship was not defined whatsoever. So this moment is a little bit of hollow, even though it's maybe some of the best acting, not some of the best writing though. You know, it's a little clunky with the whole mood ring thing. So I'm going to show you the scene, and then I'm going to just tell you one line that I cut out, and then I'm going to show you that scene without the line cut out, and then you'll let me know if you think it works better. So here you go.
Yours was blue, peaceful, right?
Right.
What color was love?
I don't remember.
Me neither. Elliot.
Yeah.
It's just making sure you're there.
It's not right for it to end like this. If we're gonna die, I want to be with you. I want to be with you, and I'm gonna come be with you.
Elliot, don't.
All right, so yeah, it seems okay. I mean, they could have reworded things a little bit when it came to sort of the clunky, mood ring dialogue. But the biggest thing that makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, it makes a little bit of sense. Is they have that conversation. She's like, Elliot, do you remember what the color of love was? It's signifying that they forgot what love meant, and which would have been an okay line if we, like I said, if they really developed that, like if we really understood that they fell out of love and they were learning to love each other again. But it felt a little hollow. So, anyways, and then he breaks that moment with it's less than a half a second, and then she's just like, this is supposed to be the moment where both of them realize, they don't want to die alone. And then she's like, Elliot, and are you still there? And he's like, yes. I mean, like, literally, this is a half a second. It'd be one thing if Elliot went silent, and then they held on her, and we don't hear anything from Elliot for a long, long time. Give it a good 5 seconds. Then, it would have made sense. Oh, are you okay, Elliot? So, I've recut that. I've taken that out. And then you just let me know how you think it works better. So here you go.
Right.
What color was love?
I don't remember.
Me neither.
It's not right for it to end like this. If we're gonna die, I want to be with you. I want to be with you, and I'm gonna come be with you.
All right, so that's it. I think it works a little bit better. It doesn't break up the emotional moment it was supposed to happen. And the performance with that line anyway sucked, so as you could see. So that's it. Those are mainly the cuts that I made to make the movie a little less suckier. But I think in this case, as I'll say again, I think I made the movie not less suckier. I think I made it suckier. I think I went against what I was going to. And like I said before earlier in the video, the reason why I made this movie suckier is not because that this movie is some genius, absurdist comedy, and we were all supposed to like get it, but we didn't. No, I don't think that was the intention. I think there was some intention of doing that, and there's some intention of actually having a suspenseful sci-fi horror moments in there. And I think the director himself said there are too many inconsistencies, plus just sort of stupid logic and not well-defined characters, as you can see, which is, you really can't fix that. I mean, the whole climax of this film was, it's not necessarily, they don't overcome anything. There's nothing, or they never overcome anything. They learn how to avoid tree farts until the trees stop farting. But they don't even learn how to do that. They just run around, and dumb luck, they sort of get out of the situation. None of the characters in this film make any choices that help them save their own behinds. They just run around, again, with this same old cliche term, like chickens with their heads cut off. And that's basically what this film is: avoiding farts, trying to avoid farts. And then the whole defining conflict in their relationship is that they fell out of love with each other. But again, we didn't get any of that. I mean, the film would have been a little bit better if that's what it was about, in terms of defining their relationship in the beginning of the movie, that both of them are estranged from each other. You know what? What would have made this movie better is they're not living together. And they have just separated. I mean, they're still married. They still have feelings for each other, but they both had realized that they fell out of love with each other. And this thing happens, but they still care about each other. He still cares about his wife that he's still married to. And as they go on this adventure together, we get a little insight to like maybe what the reasons why that their marriage was falling apart. And then they sort of come back together, and then that climax scene, which is they forgot how to love each other or what love is. They forgot what love is while they were in the relationship. It would make a little bit more sense than in the film. So none of that was there. So yeah, just bad writing. But again, I think I made it worse. I think I made this movie worse. I think it's a gem just because how bad it is. So bad it's good. So we can enjoy those bad parts, but again, these movies recut so they suck less. They're all to help you if you're a filmmaker, if you like editing. I mean, taking a movie that you watch and you're like, there's something wrong with this movie. It doesn't feel right. It didn't work. It's a bad movie. And think about what little things that you can do to make the movie slightly better. And it really sort of helps you judge what's not working. Because when you're on the set filming a scene and you're working on a scene, sometimes, you've written a scene, it sounded good in your head, and then you get there to perform it, and you're like, well, why isn't something's not working about it, and you might not have the answer for it. This helps with that. This helps. Like, why isn't the scene working? Is it the performance? Is it is it the dialogue? Is it the way the lines are being? Is it a piece of dialogue that's holding up the scene? Is it the way the scene is being blocked and the way the performance is? It helps you sort of key in on that. So when you do get on a set, because it will happen when you're shooting stuff, there's just moments where you're just like, why isn't this working? That's why when you you hear stories of like Stanley Kubrick and I forget what's the other director, David Fincher, where they just do multiple takes. They have a specific tone or style that they may be going for. I know Kubrick had a very specific sort of dark, slow tone. Whether or not you like his films, they were consistent with their tone and their performance. And he probably just did take after take after take because it just wasn't working to figure things out. Maybe to get actors more freed up. It just to kind of figure out why isn't it working to the specific vision that I'm having. So there you go. There's The Happening. It should be called The Great Flatulence or The Flatulence. Silent but deadly. Trees fart and they can kill. And so there you go. That's movies recut so they suck less. Please subscribe to my channel and recommend any other movies that you think I could try to recut so it sucks less. See you next time.